Hello and welcome everybody to Paizo Live, our monthly fireside style chat show where we bring on our wonderful creatives to tell you everything you need to know about everything we're working on. Our marvelous community manager Maya is taking a long weekend, so standing in for them is me. I am Maryssa Marie, Paizo Senior Web Content Manager.
And I am Alex Feidel, Paizo's convention and organized play manager, longtime fan of the show. Lovely to be back. I missed you all so much. It's been a busy summer convention season.
Long
We
time lurker, first time hoster.
not close to first time hoster, no, but it's been a minute. We have a wonderful show planned for you all today. We're going to talk to some of our friends. But first, I'm going to talk to my friend Maryssa. I have not seen my friend Maryssa much lately because she has been busy planning her wedding. Everyone say congratulations to Maryssa. She's getting married soon. It's super exciting.
Yeah, say we couldn't do anything in the summer because of course it's convention season, and obviously Gen Con and all the conventions take priority over silly little things like weddings.
It's not a silly thing. It's very important. So I know you have been very busy, but have you had time to play any games in the past, I don't know, several months?
Oh my goodness. So it took us 2 years, but we finished the first book of the Kingmaker campaign that I've been playing with my group. Because the most notorious thing, of course, is planning. I think, have I been on since Gen Con? I've tried about a bunch of really cool games at Gen Con, like got to try out like fun little card game Flip 7,
I
The
love Flip 7.
Mind. Oh my gosh, it's such a good, easy little game.
I love it so much.
Over the summer, I picked something up just in time for spooky season, is Mysterium Park,
Ooh.
which is an expansion, but also its own individual game of Mysterium. So if you like cooperative games and like guessing games and trying to read each other's minds and figuring out how well you know everything, this game is like this absolutely beautiful aesthetic.
Excellent. I will have to check that out. That looks delightful.
So you've been gone all summer doing all these conventions, as you said. Have you been doing anything other than work? Have you been able to try anything?
Yes, I've been doing things other than work. I've been keeping myself very busy. My most recent gaming problem has been. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right, Maryssa? Like, you know me, right? Whenever Blueprints came out, everyone said to me, Alex, you have to play Blueprints. This is a game that was made for you. And I said, everyone, I would love to do this. But my two gaming options are my Mac laptop or my Switch, and it's not on either of those. This week they put it out on Mac, which means that I am now going slowly, a little bit insane about Blueprints. I have done 4 runs, and I already have pages of notes. Look at I'm behaving normally. I'm behaving very normally about this game. My white balance is so bad now. So sorry about that.
You gotta do
so
it like
anyway.
a makeup tutorial. You gotta put your hand behind it.
Yeah, like, hello, everybody, welcome. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna be very normal about this game. I'm very much looking forward to just being really normal about it. I already we'll see. Maybe I'll get a run in during the thing while I'm not on screen. Who's to say?
I mean, yeah, we do get to swap out in and out. Just speaking of that, proving that I am still behind at the times, not only just barely finishing chapter 1 of Kingmaker, I also just picked up the first Hades. I know, because
Nice.
Hades 2 just came out.
Oh, I know. I've had to mute all Hades related words on Blue Sky so that I do not spoil myself, because I can only do one game at a time. I have to, so anyway.
Oh my gosh. And then with Silksong just coming out, I also I'm a fake gamer because I just completely lost the name of the first game from Silksong. It's gone. Hollow Knight. There we go. Like, I am behind on all of
Silksong the first one and then Hollow Knight is the new one? I don't know either. It's not
Hollow Knight's the first one, Silksong's the second one. I've also just picked that up because I'm behind on the times. But here we are shilling every other game but our own.
You're right. We should switch. Maryssa, who are we going to talk to today?
Oh my gosh, today we're going to talk to so many people. We are going to talk to Jenny Jarzabski about Guild of the Grave World, the new Starfinder 2nd Edition adventure path. Jason Bulmahn is going to come back and hang out with us and talk to you about some Pathfinder Quest. And then we got James Jacobs and a surprise Rue at the end for Revenge of the Runelords.
Yes, James Jacobs unfortunately couldn't join us live today, so his segment has been pre-recorded with him and Rue. It'll be played during the show, but that just means you get a triple feature of hosts this week. He's also not joining us for the Q&A, but if you have questions about Revenge of the Runelords or anything else, I guess I'll just volunteer him to answer questions about whatever. You can drop them in the comments of the Player's Guide blog for James, which is up on Paizo.com on the wonderful blog maintained expertly by our senior web content manager.
All right. So without further ado, I'm going to go download Hades and play for a little bit while you talk to Jason about Pathfinder Quest. So
Okay.
for a little bit. Bye, y'all.
Oh my gosh. That's a new transition. I haven't seen that before. Clearly, it's been a hot minute since I've been on Paizo Live.
Same.
It looked great, though. Oh my gosh, the photos we
Yeah.
have of this game are so great. Anyway, sorry, hold on. I have to do my hostly duties. Hello, Jason. Welcome to Paizo Live. Would you like to introduce yourself to anybody who may not know you, and also tell us what games you might have been playing lately, other than Pathfinder Quest, of course.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jason Bulmahn. I'm the director of games at Paizo. That means I run our board game division. I also oversee the rules and lore team, making Pathfinder and Lost Omens books. So I'm a busy guy, and I am here today to talk about blueprints, which I really enjoy. And right before the stream, I had to sweep all of my notes off of my table into a drawer.
Jason, what is going on with this? What is going on in the breaker box? No, sorry, it's not important.
I can't tell you that. I know, but I can't tell you. And
I know.
Boy, wait till you find the boiler room. Okay, anyway. I'm here today to talk about the Pathfinder Quest crowdfunding campaign that's live right now on BackerKit. In fact, we just crossed a major goal and hit.
Oh my gosh, yes. So
yeah.
Yes, I was going to say, give us a live feed. So here's the thing. I planned at the top of this segment, right, to give everyone an update on the campaign and be like, hey, everyone, our next big goal is $575,000. If we hit it during the stream, we're going to reveal our next possible mini options. And then quite literally 5 minutes before the stream, as we were all sitting in the green room, we crossed that goal. So first of all, congratulations, Jason. We've hit $575,000 on this crowdfunder. That's amazing.
It is truly astounding. We still have 2 whole weeks to go.
Yeah.
It ends 2 weeks from today on Friday, the 17th at 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Maybe.
So we're really excited to kind of see this campaign go. Yeah. It's really been a rocket ship. And frankly, we couldn't be happier with how things are going. We just hit 575,000. We are, 88 backers away from 2,500, which unlocks double the number of ancestry cards.
Absolutely. So I want to highlight a couple of the upcoming goals. So at 2,500 backers, we unlock the ancestry expansion, which I'll ask you about what all is involved with that in a second. So tell your friends, get them on this campaign, because the more backers we have, the closer we get to that. We'll get the ancestry expansion at 4,000 backers, then we're statting up monsters and stuff, which is really great. Additionally, at this point, every $25,000 unlocks new stretch goals. So at $600,000, we unlock. Rue is helpfully scrolling down to what we unlock at $600,000.
It takes a while because there's so much to scroll past.
I know. We unlock another bonus mini that the backers will all get to vote on which mini sculpt it is. At $625, we'll unlock Endless Adventure Mode, the 3rd version. So put a pin in that. We're going to come back to that as well. So tons of exciting stuff. We've just unlocked. At $550,000, we unlocked an extra token set with acrylic tokens that you can buy from some of our wonderful partners there. So much to talk about with this campaign. It's so exciting, and I want to ask you all about it and tell you everything. But first of all, Jason, let's just take 10 steps back and be like, if this is your first time hearing about Pathfinder Quest, what is Pathfinder Quest? What is this? What's going on? Why is this game so exciting?
So, enter pre-recorded spiel. Pathfinder Quest is a fantasy adventure cooperative board game for 1 to 4 players. I feel like I have said that 400,000 times, but I'm happy to say it one more time. Pathfinder Quest is a game where you and your friends sit down, make characters, go on thrilling adventures, explore an expansive story, and try and save the Darkmoon Vale once again. I'm super excited that this game.
Why do you hate Darkmoon Vale, by the way? What does this particular town do?
This Darkmoon Vale is literally the very first place I ever wrote anything about Golarion. It was developed back in the very earliest days, back when Varissia was just a map with names on it. There was no continental map other than Eric's infamous T-shaped map. And we had to start inventing a place to do other adventures, because Varissia was a place, but we knew we wanted other places as well. And Darkmoon Vale was kind of the place where we wrote the very first free RPG Day product that Paizo ever made.
Oh, wow.
Which was called Hollow's Last Hope. It was written by me and Wes Schneider. And that was the first place outside Maryssa that ever got any detail, and that came out in June 2007.
Wow. Yeah.
Which means it predates Pathfinder #1 by
It does,
about a
yeah.
month and a half.
Yeah.
So the place has always been special to me. It's a low scale place. It's a quiet place. It's a small lumber town with kind of a corrupt lumber consortium running it. It's a great place to set adventures. So when we decided, Pathfinder Quest was going to be this game that really involved the story, it really focused on the story of our world, I was like, I want to go back to Darkmoon Vale. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
You just want to cause some problems for this town that you created so long ago. You're like, they've had it too good for too long.
I can't let them rest. They dealt with the kobolds. Now it's time to deal with, well, probably lava. It's fine.
Listen, if I know anything about the game based on the promotional photos that I've seen, even your backdrop right now, I'm imagining lots of fire and lots of lava. I'm just gonna.
There is some burning that happens.
These things
mistakes
happen.
Were made.
These things happen. I mean, you know, the sheer folly and hubris of building a town or even a major metropolitan area near a volcano, one must have consequences for this, right?
Exactly. So Pathfinder Quest, beyond just the story, Pathfinder Quest is a game where you don't have a GM. It's just you and your friends. You get together and you're going to play through a series of adventures, and each adventure involves you taking the adventure book, which is a large spiral-bound book that's included in the box, and you go to the adventure that you're currently playing, and you turn to the intro, and after you read through that, then you go to Encounter 1, and that'll tell you to put certain map tiles on the board. It'll tell you the base setup and the base bits of the story, and you and your friends will make decisions, fight monsters, deal and tackle with challenges as you make your way through the story of the adventure. And your choices really do matter in this game. Throughout it, you'll be facing various challenges and various threats, and your decisions that you make, along with the dice rolls, will send you to a separate book called the Challenge Book. Now, the Challenge Book has like 425 entries in it.
Oh, is that all?
All randomized and mixed up, and it'll send you to various entries depending on your choices. And that will change how the story unfolds and how the ultimate fate of the campaign takes shape. Throughout that, you'll be asked to record things on the campaign record sheet. And later on in the adventure, you'll be asked, like, hey, did you rescue the dog? Did you help this townsfolk? Did you read this letter? Like,
well, if it isn't the consequences of your actions.
That's right. Yeah, to curse us for our inevitable betrayal of us. That's a big part of what makes Pathfinder Quest special.
Yeah.
And throughout it, you're going to play 8. You're actually going to play 9 of the 12 adventures in the box. And once you get to the end, there's some really exciting story reveals and some interesting ways that you can go back and play some more.
Yeah. So, you've got these sort of 12, I don't want to say pre-written, obviously, because like your choices affect it, right? But you've got these kind of 12 adventures laid out for people. A couple of the stretch goals that we've recently unlocked for the campaign, and one that is sort of upcoming, I think, at around the 625, 650 mark, is Endless Adventure Mode. Talk to me about that. What is Endless Adventure Mode?
Endless Adventure Mode. So we've actually unlocked 2 parts of Endless Adventure already. We've unlocked the kind of beginner part and the seasoned part. And basically, the way that this works is Endless Adventure is a PDF, and you'll get it right around when the campaign is shipped to backers early next year, mid next year, spring next year.
Whenever things launch next year, yes.
That's right. Whenever it arrives in our warehouse. So Endless Adventure is a PDF, and it's basically the challenge mode. So when you get Endless Adventure, you're gonna pick which one you want to face, and we recommend that you don't face the higher level ones until you've reached certain points in the campaign. But the first one is first level, and at the first level one, you'll be tasked with facing a series of challenges, and these basically use the contents of the box to create kind of a new adventure. There's kind of a template for the adventure itself that might be like rescue villagers before they get killed, or put out a fire, or find certain items. And throughout it, you'll be tasked with putting down various map tiles, which then you'll roll to determine what challenges are on the map and what enemies you face. And the goal is just to make it to the end as quickly as possible. And that's the basic version, and then each other version takes place at a higher level, so you'll be able to use your higher level version of your characters. So it starts at 4th, The seasoned version, or sorry, the basic version starts at first.
Mhm.
The seasoned version is at fourth, and then the veteran version is at eighth. So at eighth, you'll be facing literally everything we can throw at you.
Oh, I'm
Each one
sure.
of these
Yes.
PDFs is going to include spreads for each one of the encounters that's based on what tile you're using. It'll include challenges. There will be a mini challenge book for each of the 3 sections. Yeah, there'll also be new monster cards
Oh,
that'll just be on pages that you can then use while you're playing.
wow.
So there will be kind of new monster content in here. There'll be new ways to use all of the contents of the box. We're super excited about Endless Adventure. It's
Yeah.
just a way to get more fun out of the box.
Yeah, it basically sounds like what we've sort of done is snuck in a second game into this and said if we fund this enough, you've basically got 2 games out of one, but even more than 2 games, really. You've got 5, 6, however many levels you've got.
Well, there's the 3 levels, and in each one, there's going to be multiple different scenarios that you can try and conquer. And then, of course, there's always trying to kind of get the best possible score and outcome, like doing it as fast as possible.
Of course. So what we've done actually is we created the ability to like a designated speed run mode. I love that for us.
Yeah, we didn't want to call it Endless Adventure without it being nigh unto endless.
I mean, truly, it sounds like that. We got to get a leaderboard or something set up on the site. You know, people submit their times and their scores.
Sure, yeah.
That all sounds really great. And yeah, like I say, we've got 2 of those unlocked for level 1 and level 4 right now. So get your friends to back up your pledges. Help us get to that 3rd one with level 8, so you can use those really cool end game abilities. And yeah, just fight like 12 dragons or whatever Jason and Joe want to throw at you at level 1.
How many dragons can we cram into this? 4 or 5.
At least 1 more, I'm sure.
So yeah, the final level of this unlocks at 625,000.
Oh, 625,000. Fantastic. And that is not that far away.
No, not
so
at all.
I look forward to us hitting that. So you know, you have spent a long time, I know, working on this game. And so I just want to ask you, like, as one of the designers, you know, other than causing problems for Falcon's Hollow, which we've already discussed you enjoy very much, like, what are some of your favorite elements of this game? Maybe like something that you just really think was designed really well, or something that you're just really excited for people to get to see. Like, what are you really excited about with this getting out there?
You know, Joe Passini and I kind of co-created this game, and we spent a great deal of time working on the story, making sure that the narrative was kind of at the forefront. I've played a lot of board games, a lot of fantasy adventure board games, a lot of board games of different types. And I think the one thing that always kind of eludes me a little bit is just kind of a rich narrative, a story that takes you on a journey, that has meaning, that kind of explains things to you, but also lets you explore it and understand it. And we worked really hard to really make a story that was, first and foremost, approachable. Like, for people who don't know our world, who don't know our story, we wanted this to be a great way to kind of step into our world and learn about it. But at the same time, for those of you who are perhaps veterans of Golarion, you know a lot about our world, we wanted it to have touchstones and callbacks to things that you might have known for 20 years now. You know, that there are elements in this, well, almost 20, that there are elements of this that stretch back to literally the very beginning of Golarion. So there are NPCs in here that got name checked in Hollow's Last Hope. That's the first place where their names were dropped. So, you know, this is really kind of a nice hallmark in our development of our world. It's an interesting step forward, and it's really a fun way to explore some interesting pieces of lore. There's some stuff in here that I think is really going to blow some folks' mind. And we've been working with some of our partners to bring this stuff to life. I'm personally also super excited about our collab with the folks at Foreteller.
Oh yeah,
Foreteller, who does kind of narrative. It's a narrative app that basically says all of the box text and flavor text. And we recently, you know, went through a lot of voice actors and worked with them to pick a narrator who is absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to spoil it, but she has done a great job, and we have some really fun, interesting twists and surprises that you're going to get if you have the Foreteller app. So yeah, just super excited. Quest has really become kind of a everything I wanted to make. You know, everything we wanted to make out of a board game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, on top of the board game itself, the board game comes in two versions, right? We've got a standard version and a deluxe version. What sort of upgrades come with the deluxe version that makes it ultra deluxe?
Well, so the big difference between the two versions of the game, the standard edition versus the deluxe edition, is that the deluxe edition includes 13 plastic miniatures, and as a result, the box is gigantic.
That's
It
yeah.
it it literally turns into a piece of building material. So yeah, that's the big difference between the two. For the crowdfunder, that's a $20 difference. So for $20 extra, you get 13 miniatures, including 6 character miniatures. That's 6 of our iconics, plus 7 miniatures of major foes that you face in the game, including 2 of these obsidian constructs here. This magma fella. You get 2 copies of him.
Oh,
But
excellent.
you also get the incredibly impressive time dragon. This thing is huge. It will dominate your table.
I've seen the sculpts, yeah.
It is a fantastic mini. I am super excited to see people put it down on their table.
At what point in size does an object move from a miniature to something else? Because I feel like
I
this
mean,
is definitely
yeah, it's close to being a bigature, right? I
yeah,
mean,
a
boy, I don't
maxiture,
like that
yeah.
word. Never mind. But it's a large miniature.
Yeah.
Huge miniature.
There's got to be
Huge
someone's got to have a word. Yeah.
I gotta work on it. I'll workshop that.
But
Yeah.
no, there are also tons of different add-ons for this campaign as well. As I said, we just unlocked the acrylic tokens, which are an upgrade. We've got, as you say, the foreteller app that you can get on presumably your various smart devices. Also, yeah, another all sorts of extra minis that you can purchase that are included in backer boxes and stuff. Even a box insert, I believe, to help sort of organize all of the elements of it. And per the questions in chat, yes, the box does fit into a Calex shelf. We have measured, not on my shelf, tragically.
I in fact so making board games is a lot different than making role-playing games.
Right.
Like there's just a physicality to it,
Mhm.
right? And you have to kind of plan out, how does this all fit in the box? What kind of tray can we design? Like the manufacturers help a lot with that sort of stuff.
Right.
But we have to come to the table with an idea. We have to design it so it'll fit in a box and won't eat up too much space. And one of the things that was like one of our first directives was just like, this has to fit in a Calax.
It has to.
It has to. If it doesn't, we've done something wrong.
Right.
Now,
What are we
it's going
doing
to eat
here?
up a lot of that cube, but it will fit in there.
Yeah, I'm sort of looking at the cubes on my shelf going, which one can I possibly clear out for this box when I get my copy? And I just don't know yet. It's gonna be.
I have a similar problem. I have just a wall of board games to my right, and I'm looking over there like, yeah, no, I got nothing. I don't know. I'm gonna have to buy another bookshelf.
We're gonna figure it out bravely together. We're gonna find a place
That's
for this
right.
because this is super exciting. One other thing I want to mention about the campaign before we sign off here is that our campaign is also supporting and a part of the Power Word Meal fundraiser that is currently going on. Look at the time dragon; he's great. For every backer of Pathfinder Quest, we are going to donate 1 meal to the UN World Food Program via the Power Word Meal fundraiser, which is super exciting. I believe they've also got like an extra Pathfinder adventure if you've backed as well as part of that. So, get your friends in on this, get them to back it because, the more backers we have, the more meals we're able to donate to a really, really good cause.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't go wrong. You get an amazing board game and you help feed the hungry. I mean,
yeah.
What more could you want?
Well, I'll tell you what more we could want. The thing that I forgot that we can do during this segment because we unlocked $575,000. Jason, do you want to look at some skeletons with me?
I do.
Okay.
I hear the skeleton fashion this season is outrageous.
It's to die for, if I may say so myself. So, for our next backer poll, now that we've unlocked it, you are going to get to vote on which of the 4 skeletons will get sculpted into a miniature. And I believe they're waiting in the wings. Jason, are we ready for them to come down the runway and we can do some critique?
I am thrilled to be here. I cannot tell you how excited I am to see these skelly boys.
Wonderful. And this is our first contestant, as you can see, sporting a classic silver armor with a lovely, I love the tattered cape he's got going on. It's very edgy, I think. What do you think?
I think he definitely falls into the October fashion here. He's fresh from the crypt and he's ready to dance.
Absolutely. He's ready to serve. I love the shield is a little battered. But I love the feathered arrows that he's got going there. It's really working. Now, we do, I think, have to talk about the presentation of the outfit. He is listing a little bit to his right. I'm not sure if that's something that we're going to necessarily be docking some points for on this.
Now, I do think it's fair to say that he's missing part of his femur, and that is holding him back. But, you know, the points are the points.
The points are the points, and you know, you've got to make it work. Let's see our next contestant here on the runway. Now, this, I mean, if you want to talk about presentation and attitude, I'm sorry, this skeleton, he's working, he's giving, dare I say he's slaying.
He's sashaying. He's marching down the runway, and he's coated in blood. Which reminds me, has anyone seen our assistant? I heard some screams in back before, but I haven't seen him since.
I hope that's where the blood is coming from, because otherwise I have some concerns. And I mean, the sword, very classic, very, you know, I like it, I think it's great. You know, very few notes on this one, really, I think. Can we see the next contestant here, please? Now, this, I have to say, I'm loving the sapphire accents there with the silver. I think it's just that pop of color that you need that really sort of elevates the look.
I think the blue eyes are piercing. Literally piercing. Just as piercing as his swords will be in your ribcage.
Absolutely. And the wraps, now the wraps, we haven't seen a look like that in some time on this runway, but I really think it's working.
I think he's here to compete, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And can we see the final contestant? Now this, it's an interesting take on the prompt, I have to say. What species do you think this skeleton was? Because it's giving babushka to me, to be frank.
You know, I'm with you on that, but I was not expecting a boggart contestant here today. All the way from the swamps of Bog End,
Wow.
Here we have a boggart. And
Wow.
he is, well, he's not too smelly, which is great.
And, you know, that's great. You love to see that. The bones are really polished within an inch of their life. Well, I guess an inch of their unlife, I suppose.
Well beyond an inch of their life.
Yes, indeed. You know, I think it works. It's classic, but, you know, the classics are timeless for a reason, right?
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. So, again, all four of those skeletons will be available. This is the weirdest segment we've ever done on the show.
Fantastic.
Sometimes I say to Rue 5 minutes before the show, what if we did this thing, and then Rue makes it happen, and
we made it work. We made it work.
Oh,
10 out of
honey,
10.
we made it work.
10 out of 10. No notes.
Let me do my job for a second. You can vote on those skeletons in the poll on the backer kit page right now or shortly after the show. Once we get them up, you can vote on which of those will be turned into a fabulous miniature for your table, and you can paint them and decorate them however you like. Thank you for that little diversion, Jason. That was lovely. Anything else you'd like to share about Pathfinder Quest before we take a break here?
Yeah, I think, you know, the thing to note here is that we have 2 weeks left in Pathfinder Quest. There's still plenty of exciting stretch goals to unlock. This is the sort of campaign that the bigger this game gets, the more opportunities we have in the future to make more things for Pathfinder Quest. Yeah. There's plenty of ideas on the horizon for this, and it all comes down to your support. So if you're excited about Pathfinder Quest, if you want to see more Pathfinder Quest, make sure you get on this campaign right now. Tell your friends about it. Tell your family about it. This is a game that is friendly to folks who have never played Pathfinder before. It's friendly to folks who have never played a board game before. It's designed to get you set up and playing within minutes and really show you a good time over several sessions of play. So we're super excited about Pathfinder Quest, and we hope you are too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
In for a landing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jason. If you have questions about Pathfinder Quest or about anything else for Jason, we do have our reaction Q&A at the end of the show. So drop them in the Twitch chat and we'll pull them out at the end of the show, and I will pepper him with all of the questions you could possibly have. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here. And when we come back, Maryssa will be talking to Jenny about another bag of bones, Guilt of the Grave World, the new Starfinder adventure path. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you soon.
veil between worlds is thin here. Whatever came through, we need to be careful.
Scanners indicate a large biomass behind that corridor. Likely our target.
Day. Check. Take left. Zamir and Isef. Flank right. Obo and I will come down the center.
Finally! I've been itching for some adventure in this boring old museum.
Hop it around. Isaac, what would you like to do?
Blast off into the future with Starfinder 2nd Edition, the newest science fantasy RPG from Paizo Incorporated. Choose from 6 classes. The magical mystic, the charismatic envoy, the stealthy operative, the heavy-hitting soldier, the cosmic-powered Solarian, and the paradoxical witch warper. Whether you're looking for a high-tech, high-octane adventure, a lighthearted spacefaring journey through the cosmos, a dystopian cyberpunk city crawl, or delve into the horrors of deep space, Starfinder 2nd Edition is the perfect system and setting for any science fantasy campaign. Starfinder 2nd Edition is built on the same 3-action economy engine as Pathfinder 2nd Edition, making both games mechanically compatible. Crash a starship full of alien threats into your Pathfinder campaign, or send your Pathfinder heroes through space and time to face intergalactic forces. Your options are as limitless as the universe with Starfinder 2nd Edition. Welcome to the next generation of science fantasy gaming.
All right, we're gonna escape Falcon's Hollow to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space! Hello,
Hey,
Jenny.
hi.
Welcome back to Paizo Live. What games have you been playing recently?
I had to say it. So I have been playing a lot of games. I actually just got back from SkullCon, which was a great convention in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. Played a lot of games, but one of the games I've been playing a lot now is Monster Match. Of course, this is a Paizo game. It is so fun and very thematically appropriate for this like spooky Halloween themed episode. But I played it just last night with my partner. I played it with like some Paizo executives. I played it with friends. It's really fun. Like I recommend everybody get Monster Match and play it. It's a cute game.
Oh my gosh,
a lot of fun.
So excited to get my copy. Who did you end up matching with?
So the first time I failed. I was trying to go for the Frog Prince. I forgot his name, but I was trying to go for him. And then last night I won because I dated the succubus. And I got really lucky though. Like we were compatible, but also I just happened to, we had a couple of dates that she wanted to go on, and I was going first because I was like demoing the game. So like honestly, I don't know. It's like I want to brag that I won it when I was, teaching the game. But anyway, it's fun.
I don't know. I don't think it's bragging if it's just it just happens to be fate. Like, it's just your soulmate right there.
Exactly. And yeah, so hey, buy Monster Match too. And same thing with Quest, it's not a Kickstarter, it's already there, but if it gets bigger, maybe there'll be more. And
Ooh.
I'd love to see something like that in space. Wouldn't
Oh my
you? That'd be
goodness.
so cool,
Would
wouldn't it?
love.
Like,
Oh right, we need a name that rolls off the tongue because Alien Match
Yeah.
doesn't quite
No.
Monster Match it. We gotta brainstorm it. We'll talk to everybody like behind the scenes and get back to the chat once we've
Yeah.
done things behind the NDAs.
I think that, this project that totally doesn't even exist or anything, and we're just talking about theoretically, we have plenty of time to figure out how we would make it happen if it ever were to happen. But yeah, Joe's probably like, no, chat.
Stop talking to the audience. Stop planning out loud on the live stream. Jenny, Maryssa, you're not allowed to talk to each other anymore.
Yeah. Oh gosh, maybe something with Cosmic. But anyway. So yeah, I've been playing Monster Match. I've also been playing a couple other things. I've had it's kind of an autumnal thing as well, but I've been having lately kind of a trash vibe and animals, woodland animals vibe. So I have a couple things I picked up at Gen Con, which was this one, 5 possums in a trench coat, or 2 pigeons, or 6 squirrels, or 3 raccoons. Like a 6-page RPG. It's hilarious. Really fun. And then this one, Wires in the Woods, because check out that
oh, that art is gorgeous.
Alien art. It's very cool. These are both two games that are very heavily based on the work of some artists. So yeah, I've been doing a little bit of everything, but we're not really here to talk about the games I've been playing. We're here to talk about the games I've been working on.
Mm-hmm. And specifically one that you've been working on that either just came out or is about to come out, because I haven't memorized our calendar. I'm terrible at my job.
Well, it's October and the book exists. So it exists. It has come out. Guilt of the Grave World. Don't mind my post-it notes. These do not come with the book. You have to get them yourself. And then there's the special edition, which is so freaking cool.
Gosh.
All right.
Well, one, we have to take just a moment to appreciate this beautiful art and the amazing Zoe and the amazing Zoe graphic on the special edition. Oh, okay. Everybody, is it been appreciated? We're going to put ourselves back on the screen. Okay, we're back on the screen. I'm so sorry we made the art disappear, but we do have to talk about it. All right. Give us the breakdown, Jenny. What is Guilt of the Grave World about?
So Guilt of the Grave World, it's an adventure path, although it's a little shorter than adventure paths you've seen in Pathfinder. It covers levels 1 through 5, so it's bite-sized and it's meant to go right into the next adventure that we're going to be launching, which, oh gosh, I don't think we've even announced yet, so you'll have to stay tuned
can that
for
count
that
as a
one.
spoiler? Does that count as a spoiler, or do we have to keep that one locked tight?
I don't know. We might want to keep that one locked up.
We'll keep that.
Suffice it to say,
people can come back to find out that announcement later. It just means they have to keep coming back to Paizo Live.
Exactly. And that's something that Mike Kimmel is working on my team. So I think I want to save the spoiler for him. But anyhow, Guilt of the Grave World is an adventure that ties back in and kind of is an homage in a lot of ways to our very first ever Starfinder adventure way back in first edition, which is Dead Sons. However, it's a totally different adventure, totally different plot and villains, but you will notice some themes that we're riffing on, because these have become classic Starfinder themes, and some of those being the Grave World being Eox and the Corpse Fleet. So you start out as just some contractors. You get to pick who you are. You might be Starfinders in the Starfinder Society going out to explore and do random jobs. You might be Xenowardens who go to planets and try to keep the ecological balance in check. You could be like mercenaries working for any manner of corporations or governments. Who knows? But whatever the case, you take a job where you go and investigate an asteroid alongside a dwarven mining conglomerate, and what you discover might be a secret from packed worlds that were believed to be destroyed many, many years ago in a war with Eox. And however, getting involved in that quickly gets the Corpse Fleet on your trail. They, of course, want to get their hands on this potential information as well. And you end up having to go to the Grave World, Eox itself, at which point you get to explore Packport, which is kind of a This is meant for living people settlement. You also get to explore the wilds of Eox, which are largely toxic wastelands covered by ravenous undead with remnants like this art you see right here of ancient magitech that is kind of still there, being held together by these bone sages, these undying mages who traded everything essentially for their own immortality. But you're going to get to find out all the secrets about this planet, about what happened many years ago to the lost worlds of Damiar and Iovo. And you get to go to the Halls of Living and meet Zoe, everybody's favorite celebrity. You saw him on the cover.
Oh my goodness, we love the Zobblehead and we love Zoe. Oh
my gosh, yeah. The Zobblehead, that's a real item in that book as well. Because of course we couldn't go to the Grave World and have you do this adventure without giving you a couple of brand new items that are themed. Some of them are kind of silly, but they're also very like spooky and undead themed. There is a new undead heritage corpse folk that's presented here. So another new way to play undead Starfinder characters or Pathfinder characters, because you can obviously port these rules back and forth. There's also a new ancestry called Elibrian. That is the big-headed people that used to live on Eox, and they still do, but they're not really alive anymore. Aww. Except there are a small population.
Do we have photos?
Endured. I don't know if we have art of those pulled, but there are so many good things in this book. Another thing I wanted to talk about with this book. Hold on, oh yes. I mentioned Zoe. Yeah, there's the corpse folk. I mentioned Zoe. Check this out. There's like a whole spread of lore about Zoe.
We get more of Zoe's backstory in this.
Yeah, I think people probably screen capped that. Maybe it was shaky, so you can also buy the book now.
Just shake it a little bit so they don't get
all
the spoils. Just like block the rest of the words, only have his picture.
Yeah, so if you wanna know about Zoe, this is a great book to play through this adventure or just to read and find out like the official Paizo backstory for him and kind of what is going to happen next. And there's other spoilers, but suffice it to say that after this book, the setting definitely changes. This introduces not only the secrets that you learn that will probably be eye-opening, especially to people who are interested in the Galarian and wider setting of like the Pact World system, which is now, of course, the Starfinder setting. You'll be interested in that. So I wouldn't miss it. It's also just a really fun adventure. You get to go to this weird undead planet. You get to like punch undead people who want to kill all the living and enslave them or eat them. It's not nice. They're very punchable. You don't have to feel bad. It's great. And again, you'll learn those juicy secrets. So
oh my gosh. And you've mentioned that there is like living settlements on this undead planet where all the undead things want to eat them.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So one, my question is, why would people choose to live there? Two, we want to know more about Eox. And basically, why would we choose like that sounded super accusatory. More I'm asking like, why are we choosing Eox for this adventure? Why are we picking an undead adventure? I mean, besides for it being October and Halloween and fantastic timing.
Yeah, so part of it is we're kind of working our way through the Pact Worlds and Eox. It is a Pact World, as strange as it is that this world is ruled by undead who, you know, essentially, yeah, I mean, they probably have eaten people. They may not do it anymore, but like at one point they probably did. Some of them might literally be war criminals from another era who are still alive, but they also hold a tremendous amount of power. And for whatever reason, they've kind of decided to ally themselves with the Pact Worlds. They have in the past tried. They have warred within the Pact Worlds, but ultimately decided to stay with them, at least for now. So it is a really strange place. A lot of weird politics at play. There are not a lot of living people who really want to live on Eox, although people are always lured by promises of fame in the Halls of the Living. It's basically like reality show world, right? So like if you go to the Halls of the Living, you might get famous, you might get rich, you know, you'll definitely get your 15 minutes on a show, but sometimes the shows can be really dangerous, and they used to be more so. You'll find out more about all of this if you pick this up and read this lore. But sorry,
you might get rich, you might get famous, and you'll die trying.
But then you get to be raised as an undead, and it's fine. You can just join the production crew. But anyway, yeah, Eox is a weird place, and we just wanted to explore it because it is a place where weird fantasy, like magic, lich-like undead that are kind of like rulers and controllers of a planet meets with technology, because obviously they have spaceships, and they're not like liches, they're kind of like techno liches, right? They're called necrovites is the other term for bone sages. So there's just a lot going on. We really wanted to explore and just showcase how fantastical and weird Starfinder can be. This definitely has some horror themes in it, but it's also like high adventure. There's some exploration. There's a little bit of survival, definitely some comedy, and a little bit of fun with, like, you know, not necessarily pop culture references, but pop themes, you know, current themes that you can play with and laugh about. But really, there's something for everybody, or that's what myself and Mike Bramnick, who the author Michael Bramnick, and other folks at Paizo who worked on this have tried to do. Bandit agrees. Bandit obviously wanted this to be the best adventure. And I'll just have to let you look, but there's some really cool art treatment on this. Like, the whole book is just really giving this aesthetic to you, but also giving you the tools you need and the information you need to run a short campaign, essentially. You know, I don't know exactly how long it would take your group to play through 5 levels, but you know, it might take you, I don't know. I think most groups would probably take like 5 to 10 sessions. Some groups might take more. So, you know, spend a few months or so, maybe a little longer if you spend more time playing this game. And pretty soon we're going to have another more high adventure campaign to announce for you that your characters can go right into. You don't want to miss this one. It's pretty fun.
This one sounds absolutely amazing. And because it is like the first big adventure path of Starfinder 2nd edition, one, the art is amazing. I just have to say that every time you open the book, there's something new and bright and purple and amazing. I love the color palette for Starfinder 2E. But because it's the first one for Starfinder 2nd edition, what are some of like the really big changes that have between like the 1st edition and the 2nd edition adventure paths? Like compared to like Mechageddon or Scoured Stars, or like I want to say Data Breach, which is, I believe, the name of a single adventure and not the overarching adventure path. And I've just also lost the adventure path where that came from. I'm so sorry.
I think that one might have been, no, I can't think of it either, but I don't know which one that was. But
that Friday brain.
There's a lot of them. I'm like, oh my gosh, now we've started this chain. But so with going to 2nd edition, we had already started going to 1 book APs. We tried it out before Pathfinder decided to try it out and switch over to that. We did that with Mechageddon and with Scoured Stars, which was like the Starfinder Society compilation. The difference is that moving into 2nd edition, we still are trying to figure out like what length of adventure do people really want? Because people always ask for a long adventure. They want 1 to 20 adventures, and that's what I want. Like, the writer in me is like, I want to tell this epic story that's like, you start at level 1 and you're saving the kitten from the tree, and then you're level 20 and you're fighting God and you're mech. Like, that's what I want, right? But there's a lot of limitations and considerations there, and one of them is like, will people actually buy this? And I think in a 1 book format, yes. But we also do want to have some shorter options for people who are dipping their toes in, or don't want to spend like, okay, I need to spend the next 2 years playing this game. Maybe you can't commit to that, but you can maybe play like the next 2 months, like spend the next 2 months every other week or every week playing the game. So we're trying to offer a couple of like lower level and shorter adventure paths. So that's one difference. We are able to do shorter and longer ones. They won't always be 10 levels or 20 levels. They might be 5 levels. However, I know there are people, like, frankly, people have already said to me, like, why, like at SkullCon, for instance, I was there. And a couple people were like, hey, Jenny, now that you're here and I can just tell you whatever, have because you're sitting here eating our like nacho cheese in the lounge.
So I can
between your
corner
game.
you and ask you all of these questions.
I love y'all, by the way. But yeah, so cornered. And they kind of were telling me, like, some people were saying that they really do prefer the longer APs, and like 5 levels is not, even if they're like, well, that's a module, like you should call it a module. So I think there's definitely some conversations we're gonna have. Starfinder is a more experimental line than Pathfinder, so we can probably get away with trying some things. Like we had our adventure in a box, we had the deluxe adventure. We learned a lot from that. And Dawn of Frogs is even better because of it on the Pathfinder end. And our next one, if we do it, will be even more cool. So we're working on it. We're definitely considering options, but though it is more of a module length, this is an adventure path in that it presents a full epic story. It's just that the campaign might be a little bit shorter than your typical like 2 to 3 year like classic Paizo adventure path.
It's travel size. It's snack size.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw something in there. I see in chat. Thank you. I see something about the player's guide. So that's another change that we made. Something that we haven't done with shorter adventures in Pathfinder as well is typically there's not a player's guide for like a module. And so we had decided to try not doing player's guide with some of these shorter adventures. I do think it was a mistake though, because that is also something like, just like Anchor 89 said in chat, another piece of feedback that I got, actually the only really negative piece of feedback I've gotten so far, that seems to pop up again and again about Starfinder too, is like, hey, you need to bring the player guides back, because I want my group to see what it is. I want to like have something I can show them that will guide them to making their character and like what they should pick, without having to be like, oh, don't read this part, like cover this up. So we are going to bring back player guides. So that is going to be something that is not a change. We're going to change it back, I guess. We'll start with those. Oh, sorry, Maryssa.
Oh no, that was I was yes ending to you. I'm like, yeah, that's like super insightful. And like you said, this was entirely like Starfinder 2E super experimental, and we tried it. You experimented it. Yeah. You got the feedback. We're learning and we're moving on.
Exactly. And so we know that means that like the first you didn't get it for like, Cosmic Birthday kind of had its own, it had like, different player handouts and whatnot, but it'll be a bit late, but I am working on a player's guide right now for Guilds of the Grave World. Ooh. So it is coming belated. I'm hoping it can come like just after Halloween, so it can be like a Day of the Dead, All Saints Day present, but don't quote me on that. It might be a little later, but I am working on that. And so that resource will be available. I also, some content that's probably going to go in there other than just like, hey, here's a little intro. Here's the little, elevator pitch for your players. People also have mentioned, hey, we should probably have some more undead healing options for these cool corpse folk and all these other undead and Pathfinder books. Can we play them? Like, what's going on? So, these are usually players guides are PDFs. So we're going to give you some new content in there, but we likely are going to be looking at throwing in some legacy Pathfinder content that works really well and updating it to work with Guilds of the Grave World. So you have it. I don't know about Sanction for Org Play. That's going to be, oh my gosh, that's going to be up to like, Jessica and Alex and probably like their AR team, but it's one step closer to it, right? I have like very little power there. Yes, Maryssa, I see the nose finger. What's up?
Yeah, no, because you keep talking about the undead, and I keep talking about like thinking of Book of the Dead, and it's like, oh, is Book of the Dead gonna be like a really good resource to use now with Guild of the Grave World with your upcoming like player's guide and the other like undead stuff?
Absolutely. And that is something too that I think the player's guide can address and will address for sure. Cause I literally have like the skeleton of it on my computer like right now. But so anyway, I do want to say like that was kind of it was a decision that I was like, yep, this is cool. We're not going to do it because it's just like an extra thing. And I don't know if people really need it. And then we have this like weird PDF that not everyone can get, but it turns out everyone was getting it and everybody was like, I love this thing. So we will bring it back, and our future APs will have them as well. So
awesome,
everybody!
Thank you so much. Oh,
and there's a spoiler. I guess that can count as a spoiler because that's like you're getting a surprise player's guide drop. So
I was just nice, a little trick and a treat for Halloween and Day of the Dead and all that jazz. Oh,
yeah.
right. I do have a couple of extra questions we have. Like, because this is 2E and a lot of people are just getting into it, it's 2E has been a really great introduction for like new players who haven't been playing Starfinder or any of like our RPGs have gotten what I've heard gotten really super into Starfinder 2E. What will new players, like new to Starfinder, new to tabletop, love about this adventure path?
They'll love it because it does start at level 1 and there are some little like it's friendly to a beginner GM and to a beginner party. Like it introduces you. It's kind of like it's not full tutorial mode the way that a Cosmic Birthday is. Actually, that's a really good one. It's a playtest adventure, but it's still good if you're new. And a Murder in Metal City is also like kind of tailored for this helps you as a GM, whether you're new or experienced. But I think that you'll really like just getting a chance to explore these themes and have just like all these rules for these weird cool things. Like you want to play an undead character and you want to go to like this weird ghoul planet, you can do that, and you have like some actual new items and new rules to help you accomplish that. And if you've never played Pathfinder or Starfinder before, it's a really good place to start because, again, it's very Starfinder, but there are some Pathfinder callbacks and it does have that fantasy that's infused throughout it. So I think you'll have fun with it. And I don't know about the demi-plane question. I'm sure everything that we make eventually tends to get to demi-plane. So I'll definitely be telling them, hey, we have a player's guide. So I'm sure that they will endeavor to throw it up there at some point. So...
Cool. All right. To the ghost of Rue, who is behind the scenes running tech for us. Do we have any extra art or cool things we can show off for Guild of the Grave World before we move on? Oh, I saw something. Are we going to bring it back? Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, we can go through all the art. Oh yeah. Oh, good boy. He's a little dog.
I was going to let me give our community what they want. They want the amazing, cool Starfinder art. So let's give them what we can before we have to go to the next section. All right. Who is this beautiful lad that we see here? Who's obviously friend-shaped?
Oh, definitely. This is a phantom gift. So this is one of the monsters that you encounter in Guild of the Grave World. It's kind of like, military dogs alongside certain corpse fleet members. I won't say more than that because we'll get into potential NPC spoilers. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if you pet him, he'll just like be real friendly and wag his tail.
Looks friend-shaped to me.
Yeah. A good pupper.
Oh my goodness, who is this? Can we zoom in on this? They're amazing.
Yes, this is Luwazi El-Sabo. She is, if you are familiar with Scoured Stars, the first edition AP or Starfinder Society, she is the first Seeker who actually started out our first season. We launched with her in charge of the Starfinder Society. Unfortunately, people only stay in charge for a couple years, and they stick to that. They're pretty good sticklers about like you stay for a couple of years, you take the organization in a direction that you want, and then switch out with somebody else. You join the ranks of like the council and the support. So she's still around. She's not the face anymore, but honestly, like she's a favorite character among the staff. So we wanted to bring her back, and the author Michael Bramnick was like, "Can I do like?" for this game show, spoilers, that they're going to be on in the Halls of Living, like, what if the other contestant is Luwazi? Can I bring back Luwazi? And I was like, oh God, yeah, like let's get her in like a cool pantsuit or something. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's give her the fit. Oh, and after the fit, we have this.
Yes, another type of fit. So here we have some activities that might happen to your party at some point during this adventure path, which is having to fight or round up some undead livestock because, undead are driven by their desires and their patterns. And some of them just did not stop doing what they had been doing for years when they died or when they were raised as, zombified versions of themselves. And there is a sort of ghost cattle. They're called Shualots, but there's a livestock rancher out on the plains who you meet. She's actually my favorite character in this whole thing. And I don't think we got the art of her. That's my bad. But you get to meet her and you might be able to help her out, or you might just piss her off because she is ornery. Oh my God, Zomboxen. Yes, Zomboxen.
I love that. And I love your description of her. Whoever she is, you didn't give us a name, and I want to leave it like that. I want to discover her organically on my own. She sounds absolutely delightful. Oh my goodness.
Great, yeah. You'll love her. And yeah, there's a lot of characters. So that's the thing. Like, there's going to be your characters. You're going to be the stars of this adventure, but there's so much cool stuff. You're going to meet literal celebrities, also some just weirdos that live on Eox. You're going to get a chance to find out all the secrets, know all the gossip about Zoe, maybe become an ally or like hold one over on him for all you know if you find out his dirt. It's great. You need to play. But
it sounds like a conspiracy, and I'm ready for it.
Oh yes, definitely.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me, Jenny. If we have any other questions, comments, concerns, or maybe another spoiler or two before we head off to our pre-recorded segment with Rue and James Jacobs.
You probably could try to kiss Zoe, but I think that if you did that, you'd probably need to roll pretty good diplomacy check for that.
What I'm
there
hearing
are
is there's
some
a chance.
There is a chance.
There's a chance.
Not impossible.
Okay. You heard it here first. Jenny said it. It is. We are all welcome to try to romance Zoe. Bandit, you cannot romance Zoe. All right, then I'm gonna go give you a break to bio break, get a drink, get a snack. We're gonna have that pre-recorded segment with James Jacobs and Rue, and we'll be back here for a Q&A at the end. Thanks so much, Jenny.
Awesome. See y'all later.
Fascinating. The greatest empire of all time, ruled by the greatest wizards of all time. A place where magic reigned supreme, and those who served knew their places. I know this for a fact, for among those ruling Runelords, I was the greatest of all. My realm was known as Cerusium. Other, lesser Runelords govern their own nations below me. It all came to an end when devastation from the skies rained down on the world. I retreated from this apocalypse into my rune well, taking shelter within the Eye of Arrogance. But the incompetence of others kept me apart from the world for thousands of years. In the passing of those years, mortal life forgot. But I did not. The world remained mine by right, even as it moved on without me, and the glories of Thassalon fell into ruins. A lesser rune lord, Kazog, rose from his own rune well before me, but he was swiftly put down by so-called heroes of this new world. As the world remembered and learned anew of Thassalon's might, they grew jealous and stole from Thassalon its legacies, claiming potent magics like the Sihedron, what they foolishly called the Shattered Star, as their own. After so long, myself and other lesser Runelords began to stir. But just as I was waking to take my rightful place as their ruler, treachery, Runelord Alasnest, curse her soul, ambushed me and forced my soul into a lesser body. One another group of heroes confronted and slew. I plunged into the oblivion of death, but death is little more than an inconvenience for one such as me. I have risen once again, returned to the old seat of my rule. I shall rebuild my cult and regain my power. No longer shall I abide the mistakes of trusting those lesser Runelords to do my will. Now they will serve me, and only me. They have become one of my weapons, Weapons I intend to use not only on those who would stand before me, but as tools to crush what grew from Great Thassalon into ruins. The world will soon learn the folly of their ways, and it shall be my mercy that ends existence for them all. But not before they feel the vengeance of the greatest Rune Lord of all. Your world shall crumble to dust, and I, Zandagul, shall finally have my revenge.
Hello, James, and welcome
Hello,
to Paizo
Rune.
Live.
Yay!
For anyone who doesn't know, could you tell us who you are?
Yeah, I'm James Jacobs. I'm the narrative creative director for Pathfinder. That more or less means that I help to run the narrative department's adventure creation stuff and do a lot of development and writing.
And as we'll get into later, you have a lot of experience with Runelords.
Yes.
But before we get into that, it's a tradition on Paizo Live that we ask, what have you been playing recently? Whether that be tabletop or video.
As everybody at Paizo knows in our little video game chat, I've been playing Silksong recently and had a very public enough of this rage quit that game. And right now I'm sort of like kind of just playing this old kind of Souls-like game, Ashen, and fooling around with High on Life, and just a couple other games that have been lurking in the background while I'm waiting for Silent Hill F.
I was about to say, by the time this clip gets added to Paizo Live physically, I think the answer for both of us will be Silent Hill F.
Yep.
But yeah, we're not here to talk about Silent Hill. That's a separate podcast that I'll have to start.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about Revenge of the Runelords.
That's right.
Which is our upcoming adventure path, which when this airs, the first volume will be out the following week. So if you still have a chance to subscribe and pre-order and get your orders in when this airs, which is exciting. But before we dive into Revenge of the Runelords, I'd like to do a little bit of a gaze back into history. Can you tell us, for anyone who might be new, or even folks who just want a refresher, who are the Runelords, and can you give us some of their history?
I can. I will try to do this without going on for 7 hours because there's a lot. When we transitioned away from doing magazines for Dungeons and Dragons, we wanted to keep going. We wanted to keep doing this adventure path format, and that meant on the day that we shipped Dungeon Magazine 150 and ended the Savage Tide adventure path, that time next month was when we wanted to start Pathfinder adventure path. So for us, there was no downtime between going from the D&D magazines to Pathfinder Adventure Path. It's way over there. It's out of reach. I'd have to move and nuts to that.
That's
but so we wanted to build a new world. We had to build a new world because we couldn't use any of the D&D stuff. We had to go into our own new setting. And we basically had a month to do that, because the previous month was working on
Dungeon,
on magazine, and so that's not a lot of time to start working on it's more complicated. There's overlapping schedules and everything, but basically, so I ended up drawing a lot for my homebrew game, which I'd been working on and expanding since like 1987, 1986, or somewhere around back in like sixth grade, or whenever I first got into the you can build your own settings. And so by drawing liberally from like creatures and NPCs and storylines and plots and stuff like that, I was able to basically skip a lot of that initial, design phase of like building a world and just transplanted it over. And on top of that, at that point, we'd done Shattered City, which I'm trying to keep spoilers to a minimum, even though these are many, many years old. Shattered City, which the main bad guys were evil demon gods, fiendish deities. Age of Worms, which of course the main bad guy was an evil deity. And then Savage Tide, which of course evil deity. So they were all like these weird, evil, fiendish, overgod cult type things, which I really love. And they were popular, so I'm not the only one. But by this point, we'd heard a lot of people saying that, why don't you, we're tired of this. We want the next adventure path to be something that is not, that is more grounded, that is not another demon lord, basically. And at the same point, we wanted to make sure everybody knew that even though we're no longer doing Dungeons and Dragons content, we're doing OGL content, still set in a fantasy setting that is the same type of stories that you've grown to love us producing in the magazines over the last several years. And so all of that basically told me that for this adventure path, we needed to have an evil wizard.
I was like, I see. I understand where you went, how you got to evil wizard, which is one of the essential.
It was that or a dragon, and I didn't really want to do a dragon because dragons are complicated to do over the course of an entire adventure path because they're sort of a more constrained story. Whereas an evil wizard's machinations, I guess, whatever. But and so I drew there in my homebrew campaign. I had this group of ancient intolerant wizard rulers with names like Karzug and Zutha and Nocticula and Rune. And so I drew a bunch of them into this setting and kind of rebuilt and recast them with a lot of help from Wes Schneider and James Sutter at the time. The three of us were the ones that were basically on Team Adventure Path, and built all this information up about the Runelords and how they were going to work. Came up with this theory, this system of their magic, where they mapped these seven schools of magic to 7 sins, and then figured out what those 7 sins were opposed. Like if this one is a greed wizard, what 2 sins are oppositional to greed, and how can we put that in a chart so that it makes sense when you put everything, and we got it all figured out. So, and then that was it. And that was basically the genesis of the Runelords. So all of that story I told to tell you what a Runelord is. A Runelord is an ancient evil wizard associated with one of the 7 classic deadly sins, and they ruled this ancient empire called Thassalon 10,000 years ago. Earthfall comes along, not quite, but almost destroys the world. And all these Runelords go into hiding, like in other planar realms, or use like a Lich soul cage, or whatever method. Wizards are tenacious, powerful evil wizards. They have places to hide.
They go into wizard hibernation.
Exactly. But they underestimated not only the scope of Earthfall's devastation, but the loyalty of the few surviving minions that they had on the world.
Ooh.
And so they ended up stuck in their various little hidey holes for 10,000 years until the events of Burnt Offerings, the first adventure in Rise of the Runelords, comes along, and one of them starts getting out. And that was basically the genesis of that whole storyline. Rise of the Runelords was the first adventure path. It predated the actual Pathfinder RPG by 2 years. So it was in this weird gulf when we were just using the 3.5 OGL rules. Yeah. And that whole adventure path was basically just us. We wanted to lean in to classic fantasy, giants and dragons and evil wizards, but we want to give it our own Paizo spin. So we were able to let's lean in and make this edgier. Let's make this R-rated, basically.
Sin Spawn.
Sin Spawn and the goblins came out of there, and all sorts of stuff. A lot of which is we pushed too far, but we were finding our place in the gaming ecosystem. And it ended up being super popular at the point where we made Lisa Stevens promise to let us do at least these 6 volumes so that we don't get canceled before we can finish this run. All right, no matter how bad it sells, we can do at least 6. And here we are 222 or so, 219 months later. And
that's so cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I answered the question what a Runelord is. One thing, I don't know if we were going to talk about this later, but the Revenge of the Runelord Player's Guide, which should be out by this point.
Yes.
By the
time this is live, it will be, yeah.
It's not out when I'm talking. Yeah, time travel. That Player's Guide has what's a Runelord? A Runelord's primer that is free. It's as spoiler light as possible, but it still covers the plots of Rise of the Runelords, Return of the Runelords, Shattered Star, 7 Dooms for Sandpoint, basically the stories that came before this, a certain season. There's some organized play stuff with Rune, and all of that stuff is kind of summarized in there. So if you need a deep dive into this sort of stuff, that Player's Guide is going to help you. And it's worth noting that when we first did Rise of the Runelords, nobody knew what a Runelord was. Nobody knew what a Desna was. Nobody knew what a Galarian was, or even a Pathfinder. That was a car. Or at the time, that was that Carl Urban movie about the Viking. We were nervous about that because it was coming out of the time. It's like, is that going to scoop us? And it's like, where we fine. But so in world, that's why these Runelords have been forgotten for 10,000 years. Because in world, your characters and the world of the region of Maryssa and Galarian itself is rediscovering what a Runelord is along the course of Rise of the Runelords as you play. And by the time we get to Revenge of the Runelords, that's what, 20, not quite 20 years later, but close in real world time. And that much time has passed in world as well in Galarian. So at this point, people know what those are those evil wizards that keep coming around and requiring high level characters to stop them. And so they're more common knowledge. So that's what that section in the player's guide is meant to do. It's to help your players and you as GM even, figure out what they are. So check that out for the full details.
Yeah,
it's more about Runelords than wallowing in the grid of history like I just did. So we can edit this all up in post, right?
Yeah, I was going to say you actually did answer one of my later questions, which was going to be where do players who don't know anything about the Runelords go look? So the answer is the player's guide.
Player's guide, yes.
And this is actually not a question from my list of questions, but I'm going to jump it on you. I know in Rival Academies, there are some explorations of Runelords. What is the difference, I suppose, between like the Runelord that's playable as a character versus these 7 Runelords?
Yeah, that's also covered in the player's guide, but it's a great question. It's tricky because, like I was saying, the Runelords 7 magic schools, greed, lust, sloth, envy, all of that stuff. That's all based on the classic D&D versions of necromancy, evocation, illusion, all of the necromancy. The wizardly schools that we no longer use in the game because we've remastered away from that content. And while the majority of what we did to remaster things, everything is backwards compatible, this specific situation wasn't. So we had to come up with a new way to basically categorize these spells. If you're creating an NPC wizard, no big deal. You could just go back to the old books, pick spells, and then translate them forward and just kind of like, well, this guy would have conjuration spells, so he might have summon monster and stuff like that. And you can kind of fake it like that. And that's kind of the tactic I mostly took creating Runelord adjacent spellcasters in Revenge of the Runelords, and had the authors that I worked on use that method. That doesn't work for players. Players and NPCs use different rules in second edition, which is one of the great innovations of the game in my. But so Rival Academies presents the Runelord archetype, which is something that we introduced in the game several years ago. And the idea there is that the Runelords have come back, they've tried to do their thing and failed, but all of their magic and all of their teachings and everything explodes into the zeitgeist of modern Galarian, modern Maryssa particularly. And these methods of, using this sort of rune magic associated with sins and virtues to get extra powers at the expense of not doing the other stuff is a pretty fun mechanic to play with. And we wanted players to be able to do that. So the idea here is that there's this Runelord archetype, which is in-world comprised of people, scholars, wizards, who have taken those teachings and have recontextualized it into their own methodology. They're not actually Runelords who rule a nation. But they are Runelords in that they are focused on a specific sin or virtue to the exclusion of 2 different types. They all use pole arms, which is a element that all the Runelords do. We wanted them that as an aside was because we wanted these to be evil wizards, but we wanted them to be identifiably Paizo stuff.
Oh, so that's why
the
pole arms.
That's why we gave them pole arms, because wizards use staffs. So it's like, well, what if we give them pole arms and just have them be pretty badass, like using blades and corbids and stuff like that. And that really helped set them apart. Also, having Wayne Reynolds design them was also
amazing.
But so that archetype allows player characters to thematically play with these rules, rather than having that archetype, rather than having it basically say you're really good at this school of magic but no good at these two schools. It uses the edicts and anathemas.
Ooh.
So it'll say something like, if you're a Rune Lord of Greed, your spells, you focus on spells that cause physical transformations and physical creation of stuff. So you turn people into gold statues or stuff like that, or make things manipulated that way. But now I'm blanking. But you can't do things that are your opposition, which I believe is illusions.
Illusion, yeah.
And enchantments, I think, because those are like
mental.
Yeah, mental stuff and like fake creation. You don't do.
I only make real objects.
It's so complicated. But that's the sort of thing that we when we went through and charted all of that out. And I even today have to go back and look at the original charts that we have all over the place. But so as long as you observe those edicts and anathemas as a Rune Lord, you can still gain those powers. But if you are a Rune Lord who then dips into casting spells you're not supposed to cast, just like any edict anathema system, you're going to have to atone or do rituals or do something to get your mind back where it's out of the gutter.
Thank you.
An arcane gutter.
Thank you. And also thank you for letting me go off script to ask a question about an entirely different book.
Oh yeah, no worries. I've been like you mentioned earlier, I've had my head in Rune Lord stuff, officially Rune Lord stuff, since the early 2000s, but a lot of these characters, I've had them in my head since like 1990. So
that's so cool. But now that we've gotten a overview of what Rune Lords are and the difference between player Rune Lords and NPC Rune Lords, can you tell us what is Revenge of the Rune Lords about specifically?
Revenge of the Rune Lords. It is the fourth adventure path focused on Rune Lord material. Started with Rise of the Rune, and I'll try to be a little spoiler light, but they're going to be spoilers. Started with Rise of the Rune Lords, where people fight one Rune Lord, Tarzug, the Rune Lord of Greed. Then 50-some months later, or something like that, we did Shattered Star, which was basically, all right, this is a semi-sequel to that, where you're going through all of these different dungeons scattered across the world, rebuilding this ancient artifact that the Rune Lords didn't like. It's the Sihedron itself, the star, that if you rebuild it, it'll give the region protection from these Rune Lords. And the idea was like, Tarzug came back. That was bad news. We almost didn't make it. There's 6 other Rune Lords out there that could pop up at any time. We need rebuild this ancient magic to be prepared for it. So that was the second one, Shattered Star. Turns out that was a good idea, but it wasn't enough. The third one was Return of the Rune Lords, and the idea there was that the Rune Lord of Wrath, Rune Lord of Lasnest, came back, jumped the gun, got time travel magic, killed the most powerful one, Rune Lord Xandergul, and then went about trying to manipulate the timeline so that the world, all of the things that kept her from being in charge didn't happen. And so that one had a lot of time travel elements in it, and increased, like as the adventure path went on, your characters started noticing things that were weirdly happening, and then by the end of the adventure, you realized that was you going back in time to manipulate what was happening. It was wild.
That's really cool.
But at the same time, all of the other Rune Lords were waking up. The idea was like Tarzug woke up, got dealt with, but that was like the trigger. It sent out a
signal
or whatever. Yeah, and all the other Rune Lords started popping up. So you basically had to go deal with all of the other Rune Lords. And at the end of that, in theory, you defeated all of the Rune Lords except for Rune Lord Belimarius, Rune Lord of Envy, and Rune Lord of Lust, Sortion. And Belimarius is now active in the world as a bad lady.
Yeah.
And Sortion, of all of the Rune Lords, is the one that is smart and wise enough to say, all those other 6 chumps did the same thing, and these new heroes of this new age knocked them down. I should maybe not do that. Yeah, so Sortion basically turns over a new leaf and wants to integrate into society in a way that isn't going to make everybody come after her, to limited degrees of success. And that was Return of the Rune Lords. And that was all we really did with them in first edition. Second edition comes along. We didn't do much until Pathfinder 200 with 7 Dunes for Sandpoint, which was presented as a special number 200 double-sized volume that I got to write the whole just focused on the small town of Sandpoint and defeating 7 dangers that were threatening the town. Mostly a dungeon crawl, but as you go through this dungeon, you uncover clues and information and hints that there was an 8th Rune Lord, or at least a woman who called the 8th Rune Lord, and was never really like the other Rune Lords. Like,
she's not a real Rune Lord.
Exactly.
She's not part of our club.
Right. She's still that powerful. And the idea there was just like there were 8 schools of magic, but only 7 students. And she was focused on the 8th one, divination, which all the other Rune Lords said that's because back in 3rd edition, there was like so few divination spells, and they were pretty stupid in combat for the most part. There was not a lot of them.
Yeah.
They were. It was basically the school of magic that was the least interesting. I mean, necromancy had a small number of spells as well, but those that they had,
powerful.
Chef's kiss. Divination didn't have that. So anyway, Seven Dunes for Sandpoint presented that sort of situation with some new Rune Lord secrets revealed. And the intent was, at that time, I'd already been planning on doing a Revenge of the Rune Lords. And so the intent was to have 7 Dunes for Sandpoint, end it with your characters at 12th level, and then go on to do...
so that you could go into Revenge.
Yeah, exactly. And then a certain OGL-related catastrophe happened, and we had to remaster everything, and the entire schedule got pushed back by a year or 2. And at that point, also, it's like I always knew one of the things I wanted to do with the Revenge of the Rune Lords is have Rune Lord Xanadu finally be at full power that you fight him. But he's arguably the most powerful wizard on the planet. People say that Tarbathon is better, but we statted Tarbathon up, and he's lower level than.
Oh well.
Yeah. So
I think definitionally, then.
Yeah.
Xanadu is the most powerful.
Anyway, yes, and he's also the Rune Lord of Pride, and every illustration you go like that's exactly what someone with that expression would say about himself. So, in order to do that properly, we also needed mythic rules, and because your player characters, if you were 20th level and not mythic, you get scrubbed.
Yeah. Well, which is this is the second of our mythic adventure paths this year. The first one being Myth Speaker, which just concluded this previous month. So, sort of a 2-part question. One, this is higher level mythic play, so how does mythic play come in at higher levels? And 2, just specifically for this, how does mythic play come into the adventure?
So the mythic rules for 2nd edition are a lot more tied to the narrative of the storyline, which is, I love this because it's you still get powerful stuff, you still get fun tricks, but it's so tied. It's rather than it's kind of a shift in the philosophy. In 1st edition, we were like, we want to support Golarion, but we want people to be able to do this for any campaign because
people use it in other places. Yeah.
And we still like that. We still need to now use. We've always needed to use proper nouns and stuff like that. And so now we're just leaning into the fact we do have a campaign setting. Let's support it native to the rules. So, anyway, so the design team split mythic powers into 2 buckets, basically. One for the lower level, basically 1st to 10th level, and that's your mythic calling. That's when you have this mythic calling that pulls you in, and it's like this is you're destined for greatness for whatever reason. Your destiny will be amazing, but you're just being called toward that destiny.
You're not ready for it yet.
Yeah, but you're still more powerful than people that don't have mythic callings. And that's what Myth Speaker is about. It's chronicling your character's mythic callings. And that covers from 1st to 10th level. 11th level is sort of a palate cleanser level, I guess, is a good way to say it. At 12th level, your mythic destiny kicks in. And the mythic destinies are the high level versions of this stuff. And at that point, you're no longer like having like these vague sort of like, you're like maybe, like mythic callings would be like, they're off the top of my head, I can't remember, but you'll be like you're a mythic crafter or a mythic archer or something like that.
Yeah.
Where you get to the destinies, you're like, you are an demon lord in training, or you are a god in training, or you are specifically something in the world that is becoming more powerful towards your immortality. And so when you're pursuing your mythic destiny, you are becoming so powerful not just in your character's abilities, but in the narrative impact you have in the world. It implies a different sort of storyline that you're going to be playing through. We wanted people who come into Rise of the Runelords or Revenge of the Runelords to be able to come in from Mythspeaker, but also if they would prefer to come in from Seven Dunes, which is not a Mythic adventure path. So this is also somewhat covered in the player's guide. It's like, well, here's how you turn non-Mythic characters into Mythic. You basically will get all of your Mythic callings right away. And then the point at which you, even though your characters can, you as players can choose what your Mythic destinies are going to be, including from 4 new ones we're introducing in this first adventure path volume. You can pick those out before you start playing, but it's basically the first encounter where you actually get that stuff, and it happens on screen. Like you choose this, and it's on screen, and there's impacts that happen there. So
that's so cool.
There's also one of the elements too that I think that seeing an adventure use this content in play is really helpful. Is just Mythic powers use Mythic points to basically fuel them. You have to spend Mythic points to do this cool stuff. And there's basically 4 ways you can get these Mythic points back. The first 2 are hard-coded mechanical things that can happen specific, and you always start a session with something. The last 2 are storyline based, and they're kind of loosey-goosey. A GM who isn't paying attention can easily forget to hand them out. And so with these adventures, particularly in the one I was working on, I made sure that there was points in the text where it says, award the party a Mythic point for doing this. Remember that if they follow their callings and their destinies, do that. And so it kind of hard codes in that ebb and flow of their Mythic expenditures into the storyline as well, which I hope plays out pretty exciting.
That's really cool. And like, as someone who, even before I worked here, I have always really enjoyed the way that Paizo's adventures are run, because as a GM, they're very intuitive and they provide a lot of guidance. So like, as both a coworker and a frequent GM, thank you for putting those kinds of things in the adventure.
Yeah, and definitely once folks are seeing this, I always want to hear feedback. Like, let us know if that worked. I mean, theoretically, we could do the same sort of thing for hero points, which Mythic points are kind of an upgrade too.
Yeah. I guess this is more of a rules question, but I guess like I assume there are a limit to
kind of handy about it. It's like you start every session with 3 Mythic points, and you always start that way. You never can have more than 3 Mythic points. So as you spend them, they go away. There's not, the only penalty for having no Mythic points is you can't use Mythic.
You can't do your things, yeah.
Right, but you don't become like or whatever. I
try to do a jellyfish.
It makes it actually pretty nice to be able to legitimately say in the adventure a lot, like generously say, get a Mythic point here, get a Mythic point here, get a Mythic point here. I don't think that the game, a Mythic adventure, benefits if the players are starved for Mythic points, because they need those points to do their Mythic stuff. And my appeal to GMs out there running any Mythic game, don't be stingy. Give those things out a lot. Because remember, even though you as a GM know I'm planning on getting out points here, your players don't. They don't have that agency. And the more you do that, the less likely your group is going to be like, well, I can't use my Mythic power because I don't know when I'm going to get another point, and then they get a TPK because they were supposed to use their Mythic power. It's a Mythic adventure. It's like kind of like the Pathfinder version of, by the time you finish playing Fallout or Oblivion, you have 700 potions of healing because you might have needed it.
I am that person. I am holding on to every item I pick up. Like, one video game taught me to do that, and I will never use them again.
The Dark Souls games are an even better one because it expects you to use those consumables, and you don't because you might need them, and then it's like, this game's so hard. Oh, maybe if you use your fire potions,
you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. I have one more sort of set question, and then I'll open it for a little bit more open-ended. But for folks who have played prior adventures, whether it be Seven Dooms or the first edition ones, who are some familiar faces that they could look forward to seeing, or maybe not look forward to seeing, depending on how nasty they are?
Awesome. again, there's going to be spoilers here, but one of the things that I really enjoy about doing the Runelord stuff is being able to bring in old characters and have them show up again. Obviously, Runelord Xandergol is in here. He's the main bad guy, even though you don't necessarily know that at the start. Queen Sortian is in here because she's the one that runs Thassalon. Runelord Bellamarius has a role going on in here because she's the only one left alive. One of the two little, anyway. But beyond that, there's a lot of I built in a lot of these cameos, I guess, for characters, but I also encourage the authors, Michelle Kim and Bill Fisher and Jessica Redicop, to deep dive into whatever and bring people back and put in Easter eggs there or stuff like that. So there's a character named Avaya who's had appearances now and then all over the place. She's the source of those succubi and twine statuettes that are word littered all over the place. She has she's now the high priest of Nocticula in this new world. Nocticula, of course, plays a role in this one. There's newer NPCs as well, and I don't want to get too spoilery here, but there is potentially, if you've played Shades of Blood, there might be somebody that you may recognize the name of showing up. They're going back to Magnamar, to Corvosa, to a lot of these places before you'd be running into familiar faces and familiar names there. And that goes for not just NPCs, but for monsters and locations and artifacts. I guess it's something of a spoiler. So, but people who played through Shattered Star, the fourth adventure was called Beyond the Doomsday Door. And the idea there is that there's this cult of Grotus back in Thassalon times that built these doomsday doors. They're like, these will open, and when they do, doomsday comes through. And just like we did one Runelord in Rise of the Runelords, we did one doomsday door in Shattered Star. And there are more Runelords, and there are more doomsday doors in Revenge of the Runelords.
That sounds good and normal, and like everyone's Galarian will be perfectly safe at the end.
Yeah, and just locations as well. Like I said, you're going back to like Corvosa and Zinchalas, which has now finally been renamed Zinurithnia because it's now Sortian's place. Lang shows up. So
very cool. And
I always struggle with like how much to spoil and how much not to spoil in these sorts of topics, but I tend to think that it's better to err on the side of spoilery because that's how you get people excited.
Yeah, and also you're very good about warning for spoilers. So folks who are like, "Hey, I'm running this game, so players don't watch," know when to stop, which is super awesome.
I always say it's akin to like a movie trailer. Like if you want to see a movie and you watch the trailer, sometimes the trailer spoils everything, but even if it does, you're like, I still want to see that movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes the trailer does not and makes you not want to see the movie.
And then it's
everyone should go see The Empty Man.
And yeah, sometimes the trailer tells you a movie is a thing that it totally isn't, and then the thing that the movie actually is much better. But that's another topic for James and I's horror podcast that we'll have to start someday.
We should do that. We should.
But because I only have you here for this segment and you won't be joining us for the Q&A, is there anything that I missed in my questions that you'd like to share with us about Revenge of the Runelords?
It goes from 12th to 20th level, which I believe I mentioned. They're spoilers, but they're on the covers. So the Oliphant of Jandalay plays a significant role in this. Lyra LaRue, the 8th Runelord, is on one of the covers. She plays a significant role in all of this. The Ashen Man plays a significant role in all this. The Ashen Man's a sort of a mysterious doomsday harbinger that I first put into the game in my segment for Doomsday Dawn, the playtest adventure we did for 2nd edition ages ago. And then I've been sprinkling Ashen Man hints and stuff in here and there. Malevolency has some stuff going on. Curtain Call has some stuff going on. His role is basically he's first had his attention brought to Galarian basically pre-Earthfall, when something happened that almost brought about the end of the world.
Ooh.
And he's kind of been like, oh, that planet got away. I don't know if I'm cool with that. And so he's been watching and waiting patiently for, things to happen. And recently he's been getting a little more impatient. And so he started meddling things with like Doomsday Dawn and maybe a little bit in Curtain Call and stuff like that. And these squirrely heroes keep getting in the way. So the exact mechanics by which Xandergul, who as of Return of the Runelords was pretty much dead as you can get, the way that he comes back is well, that's a spoiler.
Oh, well, if you want to know how Xandergul comes back from the dead for real, then you'll have to play Revenge of the Runelords.
Or if you can't wait to play it, you have to buy the first volume at least.
And read it.
And read it, yeah.
And then you will get to know. But
and although I've been kind of spoilery here, I do ask the people who start talking about this stuff, it's not as giant as a bunch of spoilers as we had with, say, Seasons of Ghosts, which was super spoiler, and I'm super proud of the community for keeping
it really quiet. Yeah.
Even today. But yeah, if you're talking about, please use spoiler tags and let people know. It's like this is a surprise. It's Revenge of the Runelords, and Xandergul is a Runelord. So there's more than one Runelord going on in this adventure path.
Well, thank you, and thank you for all of the spoilers and all of the background information. Like, genuinely, I love hearing about like how things came to be. So it's so much fun to get to talk to you.
Yay! I like talking about this stuff.
And we look forward to seeing you the next time you get to be on Paizo Live. So thank you very much.
I think I know what that topic will be, and I'm more excited to talk about that, I think, than Revenge of the Runelords.
Ooh, well, now everyone will be wondering what that's about, and you'll have to come forward later to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Ruby Phoenix Tournament, the world's greatest martial arts contest, held in honor of the legendary sorcerer Hao Jin, the Ruby Phoenix. The final team standing in this once-per-decade contest wins a grand prize, their choice of a single item from Hao. This year, Hao Jin herself will preside as the grand judge. But to receive the honor of just even meeting the Ruby Phoenix, the contestants must first prove their mettle and strength in the Untamed Jungle. Only the 8 greatest teams will proceed to the metropolis of Goka to compete for the title of Ruby Phoenix champions. During a year that promises to be unlike any other, countless untold mysteries await the challengers. Will it be mysterious scoundrels like the Lightkeepers, Snow's toughest? Or will it be your team of adventuring heroes to claim the Sorcerer's Prize? Let the games begin with the Fists of the Ruby Phoenix Adventure Path.
I think we're both just like in a standoff waiting to see who brings us back in.
we didn't actually figure out who was doing. Hi everyone,
welcome back
to Paizo Live. Lovely to see you all. It's been a minute since you saw any of us. Did anybody play any games during our little break here? I did do a Blueprints run despite my threats to do so.
Maryssa, did you play Hades?
No, I have not had a chance to do Hades. I was coordinating some wedding things once again.
And surprise, I was working on Quest stuff the entire break.
Jason, can you tell us anything about the Quest stuff you were working on? Because apparently we were supposed to tease some of that.
I may have been working on a list of potential stickers. That's right.
I like
stickers.
What an exciting time.
Yeah, everybody likes stickers. So, we're always looking for some new things to add to the campaign as it kind of blows through all of the stretch goals that we lined up. And stickers are an exciting thing that hopefully people will be excited to see.
It's a good problem to have. Well, this is our final segment, and we're going to do sort of quick Q&A here. We'll look at the questions that folks dropped in chat during the stream. If you have any final questions, now is a great time to drop them in chat. But I'm going to start with interrogating Jenny because I didn't get to talk to Jenny during her segment. Hi, Jenny, and that's what I like to do. And I just want to talk about Starfinder with you.
Yes.
Specifically, we had a question from someone that I'm going to expand. Shan Wolf asked if there were any plans for additional Zoe adventures, but I kind of want to expand to like, if you could make any Zoe adventure exist, like what would you like to explore? What would you like to do with Zoe? I think Zoe's delightful.
It's I don't have any plans to reveal, but Zoe obviously is super popular. If I could do anything with Zoe, I think I would probably use it to shoehorn like some kind of battle of the bands, like space pop demon slayers into this setting at this point, just to make it happen. But even without that extra layer, just like battle bands, like Zoe narrating, it'd be super fun. Although I'll be real with you, after that amazing should be is like a Zoe fashion show, because really, okay. Real quick, I do want to say one of my favorite things about GMing games, especially for people that I don't normally play with, is like when I do find a table of people who like to talk about what they're wearing. And the people I play with, we all do that because I model that for them, right? Likely in detail. If I'm a GM, I'm describing it, like whether or not there's art, it's being talked about. But it leads to a lot of things. Like it leads to interaction with like thinking about what items you have, but also imagining your character and like who are they, like what do they want, their motives and like edicts and anathema, but also what's their style and how do I want to play them and embody them. And a lot of us are just a bunch of nerds and theater kids at heart that want to just like role play and live in another role. So which is redundant, but anyway. So yeah, I would just do that. I would just do some kind of show.
Someone in chat, Canis Dyrus, I know who that is, but I won't out him, has pitched the name Killer Fashion for this, and I think that's great.
I would love a Project Runway, Zoe hosted Project Runway.
The thing about those things is that, like, I assume that any show that he pitches, like, something's gonna express something, and so, the contestants, I think, should just be prepared for that in any Zoe media production, that it may be a little bit more dangerous than expected.
Yeah, it tends to be, and that really sounds like a great Starfinder Society scenario.
It does. Wow, gosh,
It
where on
does.
earth could we find a talented and delightful author to write such a thing? Impossible to say.
I might know a few, but anyway.
We know several, yes.
I feel like I need to get Zoe into a board game or card game as the host of some sort of sadistic card game or board game or something.
Some kind of...
You have, obviously, you have our permission if you need it. Like, from the Starfinder team, go for it. Like,
I don't, I take what I want.
You keep what you kill.
Yeah, that's right.
And Zoe
He can just...
Find out a girl kills a
He can just host the Starfinder expansion for the Monster Match game, and just
and it's a dating show, because what?
There we
go. It was, that would make sense, right? Because that would bring in the high tech and like modern media thing that we love to do with Starfinder that really doesn't fit with Pathfinder. So,
like, as for the alien version of Monster Match, then I think we'll all be happy with this.
Yes.
We need to let people date strange and unusual aliens. That's what I'm taking away from this.
Yes. This is what the people want, Jason.
This is accurate, Jason.
No, I'm just here to give them what they want.
See, perfect. You're already doing amazing. All right. I am going to actually swing it back around to Jason for a couple more questions about... Oh my gosh. They wrote questions for Pathfinder Quest. Thank you.
Yeah, I made that joke in one of our internal chats and it went over like a lead balloon.
All right. Well. Do we have any possible teases for more class additions as we get higher in the backer kit? Like the idea of a champion or a barbarian would be a really fun idea.
I think a lot of folks have asked us for more classes. I will say this. The classes and the ancestries and whatnot are so intrinsically worked into the story, they're worked into the backgrounds of the game, that just adding more isn't something we can easily do at this stage of the project. But I will say this, the one thing I've said about Pathfinder Quest whenever anybody asks about it is, hey, is this the start of a new line? Are there going to be more games? Are there going to be more products? And the answer is maybe. It really depends on you, right? So if folks show us how excited they are for this campaign, if they show us just how big it can possibly be, that's really going to increase the odds that we do expansions and standalones, right? The box is meant to be a kit of parts. And when you're done, you really can reset it and start all over. Or you could use that kit of parts with additional parts in a standalone edition and play entirely new adventures. Now, we're not announcing anything like that here right now, but I will say that that sort of thing is forefront on my mind should Pathfinder Quest become the success we think it's going to be. So am I going to say, yeah, we're going to do a champion class right now? No, unfortunately, I'm not going to say that right now. We're still waiting to see kind of how things grow and how things expand. But we are pretty excited about what the future might hold for Pathfinder Quest, including getting some more classes in the game, including getting new adventures, more monsters. Who knows? Maybe even more miniatures.
Maybe even expanded into Starfinder Quest?
Well, just swing for the fences here. You know?
Hey, I mean, it's compatible in the role-playing game form, so why not in the quest form?
I mean, that gets down to exactly it. Joe and I worked for 2 years to get to this point. The first files for Pathfinder Quest date back to 2023. And, you know, Joe and I have been working really hard on this game. I will say that now that we've got the base kind of engine designed and we know how the game is constructed, we feel like we can make more stuff for it faster. Not everything we do is going to take us 2 years, but you know, it is still a lot of work to make something with the kind of depth and complexity that we have with Pathfinder Quest. So could there be expansions? Yes. Could there be, you know, PDFs that include more content? We've already promised that we're going to bring Pathfinder Quest to Infinite, so that folks can make their own adventures out of the kit of parts that are there. And could there be a Starfinder Quest? I mean, in this case, I guess the stars are the limit. So we'll see what the future holds.
We also, somebody in the chat just immediately asked if it's popular enough, could we get a society quest and have it be expanded for society play?
I mean, anything is possible, right? I don't want to say no. I'll say that we don't have any plans for that to announce right now. But I do think that we are going to make sure that folks who want to create their own short quest adventures can do so through Infinite. But we don't currently have an organized play component to this yet.
All right, after I've, you know, just made your life flash before your eyes and throw all these other potential games at you. Oh, right. Here's the downside. Upside, but also downside. We had a lot of really good questions, and y'all just, like, picked them up during each of your segments, so we actually don't have that many for the end of the stream.
But we're also coming up on a couple hours in, so I think we've had plenty of time for folks.
Oh yeah. So I think we're gonna throw it around the town and let everybody go for the rest of their Friday evening as we hit about 6 o'clock here Paizo time. I think we're ready to go. What are your thoughts, y'all?
That sounds lovely. Let's do sign-offs. I will start randomly. I will choose Jenny. Say goodbye to the people. Tell them where you can find them. Anything else you'd like to say here at the end?
Bye, everybody. It was fun to talk to you and talk about Starfinder stuff. I'm excited about Quest 2, obviously, and Monster Match, which I know is like a quest. You can get it with like a bundle with Quest. So you should definitely get it. I want to promote it again because even though I didn't work on it, I really was like, as Joe said in chat earlier, I've been cheerleading it. So I've done literally nothing, but like, I'm so excited about this game existing. Y'all have no idea. So anyway, that's it. So you can find me online sometimes at Mecha Space Witch. I'm on there on Blue Sky. I made like a TikTok. I don't know what I'm doing. It's really bad. I don't know. I have no posts, but yeah, sometimes I stream on Twitch too, so you might catch me there, but I'm also on the Starfinder unofficial Discord. So find me there and ask Starfinder questions or just say hi, tell me your character stories, and show me your art. And yep, that's it. I like art.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jenny. Jason.
Hi there, everybody. Yeah, I'm Jason Bulmahn, and you can obviously the thing I want to talk about, and point you at is Pathfinder Quest. The campaign is still going live for another 2 weeks and 1 hour and 4 minutes, and whatever overtime we are forced into after that. We'll see how that goes. You'll also be able to find me this coming Monday. I'll be back here on the Paizo Twitch. We'll be doing some painting. I'm going to be painting some miniatures, so come by for that. As far as where you can find me online, just about everywhere. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Threads. People go to Threads anymore? Yeah. I have a YouTube channel where I post videos on occasion. I do stream on Twitch every Tuesday and Saturday. We're playing Grounded 2 tomorrow, so we're going to fight giant spiders, which I hate. So we'll be doing some of that. And you can find me on all these platforms, usually by just searching for Jason Bulmahn. Make sure to put the H in the right spot, and you'll find me, because nobody spells it that way except for a German finance minister. Okay, that's all I got.
Wunderbar, Dankeschön, Jason.
Yeah, danke.
I am Alex Speidel. You can find me on the internet by searching for my name, because I too have a German name that no one else has but me, and it is wonderful. You can also find me on this season of the Intrepid Heroes podcast on No Direction. I am playing Patsy Van Dyne, a rat folk mystic, and she's delightful, and she's a problem, and I love her very much. So yeah, find us there. Back Pathfinder Quest, help us get to that 2,500 backer mark, and even higher and beyond. We are so close to that, and I'm so very excited for that. Maryssa, you're last to go.
Right. Hello, all. Last and certainly, maybe least, just a little bit. I'm Maryssa Marie. I don't have a German last name. I have a very alliterative name. You can find me absolutely everywhere as Maryssa Marie, specifically rowing across the Gen Con show floor on TikTok. I'm sure that's been seen a couple of times. Myself and Bandit, no, he is not old enough to romance Zoe. I'm going to throw it back to Jenny one more time because they do have one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing I did want to mention is that we also have coming out this month, at the end of the month, the Starfinder Operation Arias collaboration we did with Warframe. So I think all of you have heard about it, but stay tuned for that. We're probably going to be back on streaming at some point soon, talking about that more. And Digital Extremes is probably going to have some cool festivities planned for that. So that's it. I just wanted to mention that to folks.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm pleased. Come back to join our next Paizo Live. It will be Friday, November 7th. I have to look at my calendar. Friday, November 7th. Same Paizo time, same Paizo channel, where we'll be talking about whatever's coming next for Paizo.
Yep. In the meantime, I believe we have a Miniature Monday coming up next week, right?
Yes, Miniature Mondays. We'll have a stream for the end of the Pathfinder Quest backer kit. You won't escape us. We'll be everywhere. So I guess until Monday, we wave goodbye to the people and we say thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Have a good weekend, all.
Bye.
Bye.